All right, one other thing I did want to get to that a number of people hit me up on Twitter about, and I don't mean to even be the one bringing up his name first this time, but this is some wild. This may even be more upsetting to me than his arguments around economics. So a couple people sent me. This is one example of what I got sent. So shout out to Mozo, where Boyce Watkins is apparently going in on sampling. So this one here, he says, believing that a sampling producer is a creative genius is like believing you're a master chef because you made a bowl of cereal. He had another one where he showed the video that someone had made where they oversimplify this argument by showing Dr. Dre beats versus the beats he sampled. And the similarity, meaning like, and then Boyce said, well, what did Dr. Dre really do then? Now I'm not here to defend Dre because in fact his version, similar to now that he's suffering other deserved apparent punishment, or I don't know what the state of it is at this point, but Diddy was often blamed for this as well. Their versions of sampling notwithstanding, sampling absolutely is an art form. It's an absolute skill. So the very first thing I wanted to say in response to that, to our dear brother, Dr. Boyce Watkins, whose economic analysis is now matched in its absurdity with whatever this is called in terms of a hip hop analysis. And I think actually I feel like this is worse. This is more offensive to me. You don't have to love hip hop or appreciate DJing or producing per se as much as I or others might, but you should at least be honest if you're going to be criticizing. Again, this is the same kind of non-studied quote unquote analysis that he applied to critiquing my work, that he applies broadly to the economy and solutions to Black inequality. It's just such a silly. So sampling is an absolute art form. It's an absolute, there are levels to it just like anything else. So you wouldn't judge in the same way he's holding up Dre or someone wants to hold up whoever else. You wouldn't judge jazz or saxophone playing by Kenny G. You wouldn't turn on a Kenny G record and then be like, you know what? All saxophone players are whack. All jazz is whack. The other thing that came to my mind was zero chance Boyce Watkins has ever heard a Dilla track or taken any time to analyze a Dilla track. I know he's never done the same for the God himself, DJ Premier. There's zero chance. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to go to one of my favorite channels, all race nationalisms aside, and give you in 60 seconds, I'm going to show you how whack it's going to take. It only takes 60 seconds to show you how whack that analysis or that critique of sampling is. And it goes to my man, DJ Premier. This is one of my favorite. I used to use it when I was teaching my hip hop classes. This is one of my favorite breakdowns. This channel has become one of my favorite channels. This dude does a phenomenal job. I'm only going to use 1 minute of his work here. And I know some of you know this. Digging the Greats is the name of the channel. What I didn't know is that dude plays bass with Nas's live band. So he knows what he's doing. And as you're going to see here, he knows what he's doing. And if I were to ever have a conversation with Boyce, I don't even want to have an argument about buying power and economics and all that. I don't even want to do all of that. I just want you just to watch this. This is all I would want you to do. Just watch this. Just watch 60 seconds. This is a breakdown of Premier's beat for Mos Def's Mathematics track. And I'm just showing you 1 minute of it. I'll put the link in the show description. The full breakdown is incredible because beyond the sampling, what Premier and Mos Def did in this track is truly genius and legendary. But I know Boyce can't appreciate that. The Boyces of the world can't appreciate that. But just the sampling alone, 1 minute, 60 seconds to tell me this ain't genius in art form.
Song. There are two elements that make up this beat, the chopped up sample and the drums. The sample is from the song Baby I'ma Want You by the Fatback Band from 1972. Let's play the beginning and see if you can hear it. Did you catch it? It kind of sounds similar, but it doesn't at all sound like how Mathematics ends up. DJ Premier likes to obscure samples and make them his own rather than lifting larger sections. This can be heard all throughout his production, including on this song. What he's done is essentially pitched this down and chopped it up to a degree that it's not really recognizable anymore. Then he puts his own drums underneath it and he's got a brand new song going. Let's see if we can recreate what he did with this sample. So what Premier's done is basically taken that beginning part, chopped up the individual notes, and pitched it down. So check it out. It's in a slightly different order than the original and sounds different because it's pitched down, but there's one other thing in there. You hear that? Wow, 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 wow. It's some sort of like guitar slide or something. But rather than shy away from that noise, Premier doubles down on it. He plays it extra throughout the track, and that's how the whole thing starts.
Booker, 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 booker. Come on, man. All my Negroes, even the gringos.
So it's
that's all. That's you can't tell me that that's not brilliant. And remember, put it in the context. This is what is so frustrating. Even Cornel West back in the day had this part of the analysis right. This is coming out of the post-Black liberation era where in the Reagan era, there is a repression of all these movements in these communities, a punishment where whatever safety nets, whatever resources for school, music and arts programs was just withdrawn. So you have one of the reasons why that level of genius emerges as opposed to what might have emerged a few decades earlier on some other kind of instrument is because the programs to teach bands and live instrumentation were being taken away. So to do what Premier did, and I don't even think he had a drum machine like that for that at the original time. So it's not just hating on sampling, it's hating on all of the conditions that are producing it, that are pressing down on a community you're supposed to be a student of, a member of, a leader of. That's whack. And to think that Boyce or anyone like him has any audience, particularly among Black people at all, is just so disheartening. So I just wanted to, I appreciate a couple people sending me that, and I just wanted to do a quick response to that. And it just takes 60 seconds to show the genius. And if you really watch that entire video, there's so many layers to that track, which has been one of my favorites for years since it came out. And I didn't know I never really understood all of the layers within it. So, shout out to Digging the Greats. Shout out to Yassine Bey. And of course, the GOAT producer himself, DJ Premier. And he used to get mad. Remember, because I know Boyce don't know this, but if you remember at the end of Gangstar tracks and albums and mixtapes, there would be, you would hear one famously at least, where you would hear Premier saying, DJs, stop snitching on my samples on all your little breakbeat reveal tapes. I made an art form out of masking, not just, of course, for legal and whatever purposes, but because it is an art form to take multiple pieces of other art and turn them into something that is not recognizable. And most people would not have recognized most of Premier's samples in the way he, again, as he said there, pitch down, this, that, move this way, that way. And this dude, no one had to play piano, no one had to play bass, no one had to do production and all of that. And he makes good videos too. I mean, his breakdowns are phenomenal, and that one in particular. So exactly, man, he's sample snitching. Premier was calling him out, stop sample snitching. And then here comes Boyce all these years later with such yet another unstudied, something not another claim unsupported by data. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.